It was a quiet morning. Soft sunlight spilled into the hallway of a small clinic in Pune. The ceiling fan turned, slowly blending its hum with the sound of papers shuffling and the steady footsteps of patients waiting for their turn. Among them sat Mrs. Meena, 68 years old, a petite woman dressed in a pale green sari. She sat quietly on the wooden bench, her hands clasped together, eyes fixed on the appointment slip in her lap. When the nurse finally called her name, she stood up and walked toward the doctor's room. The door closed gently behind her. Inside the room was still filled only with the faint tick of the wall clock. The doctor looked up from his desk and smiled. "What brings you in today?" he asked. Mrs. Meena's voice was soft. "I have a little pain in my stomach. Probably nothing serious." Then she fell silent. The doctor asked a few more questions, but her answers were short, sometimes skipping over important details. She did not mention that the pain had been there for more than 3 weeks, or that she had lost almost 2 kilograms in the past month. In her mind, she thought the doctor will ask if it's important. Her story is not unusual. Many older women in India speak very little during medical appointments, or they speak in a way that makes it hard for doctors to fully understand their condition. Sometimes it is because they feel shy. Sometimes it is because they do not want to take too much of the doctor's time. And sometimes they simply do not know which details matter most. But here's the truth. The way you speak to your doctor can change everything. It can affect how quickly your illness is found, what treatment you receive, and even how well you recover. A few missing words can mean the difference between catching a problem early or facing it too late. In today's video, we are going to talk about why the way you speak at medical appointments matters so much, especially for older women. We will explore the common mistakes that many people make without even realizing it, and we will learn simple ways to speak so your doctor gets the full picture. This is not just about speaking more, it is about speaking clearly with the right details so you can protect your health. And remember, your voice is as important as your medical tests. Before we start, I want you to think about your last doctor's visit. Did you share everything you were feeling? Did you describe your symptoms fully? Or did you, like Mrs. Meena, keep some things to yourself? I would love to hear your answer in the comments. And while you are here, take a moment to grab a cup of chai or coffee, get comfortable, and watch until the end. What you learn today could make your next doctor's visit the most important one yet. When we talk about health, most people think about medicines, blood tests, and scans. But there is one tool that is just as powerful, and it does not cost a single rupee. It is your voice. For older women, especially in India, the way you use your voice in the doctor's room can decide how quickly a problem is found, how accurate the diagnosis is, and how well the treatment works. Yet, many of us never think about this. Let me share a simple example. Last year in Mumbai, a lady named Shanti, 71 years old, went to her doctor because she was feeling tired all the time. When the doctor asked her what was wrong, she simply said, "Bas thoda thakan hai." Just a little tiredness. She did not mention that she had been getting dizzy when she stood up, that she had lost her appetite, and that her feet had been swelling for a week. The doctor thought it might just be age-related fatigue and advised her to rest. It was only 3 months later, when she collapsed at home, that they discovered she had severe anemia caused by internal bleeding. Now, here is the question. Could the doctor have found this earlier if Shanti had described everything clearly? Very likely, yes. Why details matter so much? Doctors are not mind readers. Even the most experienced doctor cannot guess what you feel if you do not say it. They need your story, when the problem started, how often it happens, how strong it feels, and what makes it better or worse. Think about it like this. If you were sending your son to the market to buy vegetables, would you just say, "Bring vegetables"? No. You would say, "Bring 1 kilo of fresh tomatoes, medium size, not too soft." The more details you give, the better the result. It's the same with health. A vague, "I have pain" is like saying, "Bring vegetables." It is not enough for the doctor to act on. The cultural barrier. In India, many older women grew up in a time when questioning authority was not encouraged. Doctors were seen almost like elders in the family. You respect them. You listen quietly and you do not challenge or trouble them with too many questions. This respect is good, but sometimes it works against you. If you speak too little because you don't want to waste the doctor's time, you may be hiding clues they need to help you. There is also the factor of shyness. Talking about certain health issues like problems with urination, digestion, or women's health can feel embarrassing, especially in front of a male doctor. But these are exactly the details that can point to serious conditions if shared early. The medical point of view. From a doctor's perspective, your words are the first test they perform. Before they order a blood test or scan, they listen to you. That first conversation often guides the entire appointment. If you say, "I feel chest discomfort when I walk for more than 200 meters, the doctor will immediately think about your heart and lungs. If you just say, "I feel a bit weak," they might check your blood sugar and send you home missing something urgent. A good example of communication. Now let's look at someone who did it right. Mrs. Lakshmi, 65 years old from Chennai, went to her doctor because she was feeling breathless. She had learned from a local women's health workshop to describe her symptoms in detail. So she told her doctor, "I have been feeling short of breath for about 3 weeks. It happens when I climb more than one flight of stairs. It is worse in the evenings. I also feel tightness in my chest, and last night I had mild swelling in my ankles." Those details were enough for the doctor to suspect heart trouble immediately. She was sent for tests that same day, and they found early-stage heart failure, something that could have been missed if she had just said, "I get tired." Why older women in India face more risk. Research shows that older women often underreport their symptoms compared to men. Sometimes it is because they are used to putting their family's needs first and ignoring their own discomfort. Sometimes it is because they think certain symptoms are normal for age. But here's the truth. Pain, tiredness, sudden weight loss, or changes in how your body works are never just age. They are messages from your body asking you to pay attention. Breaking the habit. If you have spent your whole life being polite, quiet, and not speaking up, it can feel strange to suddenly give long answers at the doctor's office. But you do not have to change overnight. You can start with simple steps. Write down your symptoms at home before the appointment. Include when they started, how often they happen, and anything that makes them better or worse. Bring someone you trust, a daughter, son, or friend who can help you remember details and speak up if you forget something. Practice saying it aloud before you go. It can be as simple as, "Doctor, I have had pain in my knees for 3 weeks. It gets worse when I walk more than 1 kilometer. It is especially bad in the mornings." The cost of staying silent. In many cases, silence leads to late diagnosis. And late diagnosis often means more medicines, more hospital visits, and more expenses. It can also mean more suffering, which could have been avoided. When you speak clearly, you are not bothering the doctor, you are helping them do their job. You are giving them the information they need to treat you well. Your health, your voice. Think of your voice as part of your treatment. Just like you would take a prescribed tablet every morning, you should also take the habit of speaking openly at each appointment. Remember, the doctor brings medical knowledge. You bring the story of your body. Only when these two come together can real healing happen. Before we move on to the common mistakes older women make when speaking to doctors, I want to ask you something. Think back to your last medical appointment. Did you tell the doctor everything? Did you give them the small details like when the problem started or what makes it worse, or did you leave some things unsaid thinking they were not important? Share your answer in the comments. Your story might help another viewer find the courage to speak up at their next appointment. And stay with me in the next part. We will talk about the first major mistake many older women make when talking to their doctor and how you can avoid it. When you go to see a doctor, the first thing they usually ask is, "What brings you in today?" It sounds like a simple question, but the way you answer it can change everything about your visit. Many older women in India give answers that are too short, leaving out important details. And sometimes these missing details are the exact clues the doctor needs to find the real problem. A true story from Delhi. Last winter in Delhi, Mrs. Kavita, 70 years old, went to her family doctor. When the doctor asked her what was wrong, she simply said, "Dr. Saab, my knees hurt." That was it. No extra information. The doctor, assuming it was regular age-related knee pain, gave her some pain relief tablets and sent her home. But what the doctor did not know, because she never mentioned it, was that the pain was worse at night, that her knees sometimes felt hot to the touch, and that she had swelling in her ankles every morning. 2 months later, her condition had worsened. When she finally told another doctor all the details, they found she had an inflammatory joint disease that needed a completely different treatment. Why do we leave things out? There are a few reasons. Some women think the doctor will ask if it's important. But doctors only have a few minutes for each patient. If you don't tell them, they might not have time to find out. Others believe that giving too much detail is complaining or overreacting. In many Indian families, women are raised to endure discomfort quietly and to be patient. And sometimes it's simply because you forget. When you are sitting in the clinic, you might feel nervous and your mind goes blank. Why details are so important. Think of your symptoms as pieces of a puzzle. The more pieces you give your doctor, the clearer the picture becomes. If you just say, "I have pain," it's like giving them only one piece. They will have to guess what the full picture looks like. But if you say, "I have pain in my right knee for the past 3 weeks. It is worse when I walk more than 500 meters. It feels like a burning pain at night and my ankle swells in the morning," then you've given them 4 or 5 puzzle pieces. That's enough for them to make a better guess and order the right tests. How doctors listen. Doctors listen for certain types of information. Location, exactly where it hurts or feels uncomfortable. Duration, how long it has been happening. Frequency, how often it happens. Intensity, how strong it feels, sometimes using a scale from 1 to 10. Triggers, what makes it better or worse. If you give them all of this, you're already halfway to the right diagnosis. The cultural habit of underreporting. In many parts of India, older women often visit the doctor alone or with a family member who does most of the talking. If you are used to letting others speak for you, it can be hard to break the habit and speak in detail yourself. There's also the thought that the doctor is busy, I should be quick. But the truth is, a few extra sentences can save weeks or months of the wrong treatment. A good example, let's go back to our story from Delhi. But imagine if Mrs. Kavita had prepared before her visit. The doctor asks, "What brings you in today?" She says, "My knees have been hurting for the last 3 weeks, especially at night. The pain is worse after walking for more than 500 meters." Sometimes my knees feel hot and my ankles swell in the morning. I have not had any injury, but I have been feeling more tired lately. Now, the doctor has enough information to consider arthritis, inflammation, and other possible causes, not just old age. The treatment will be more targeted and she might get relief much sooner. How to prepare for your appointment. 1. Write it down at home. Use a notebook or even a small piece of paper. List when it started, how often it happens, what makes it better or worse, any other changes in your body since it began. 2. Use comparisons. Instead of saying, "It hurts a lot," say, "It hurts so much that I cannot walk to the market without stopping." This helps the doctor understand the impact on your daily life. 3. Bring someone along. A daughter, son, or close friend can help remember the details you forget in the moment. 4. Don't rush your answer. Take a deep breath before you reply. Give your answer slowly and clearly, the result of better communication. When you give detailed answers, two things happen. First, the doctor can order the right tests and prescribe the right medicine faster. Second, you gain confidence in your own care. You know you've done your part, you've given them all the information you can. And there's another benefit: doctors appreciate patients who are clear and prepared. It makes their job easier and your treatment better. A small habit, a big change. The habit of speaking in detail can feel strange at first, especially if you are shy or worried about taking up time. But think of it this way. Every word you say about your symptoms is like a rupee invested in your health. The more you invest, the better your returns. A question for you. When was the last time you went to the doctor? Did you describe your symptoms in detail, or did you give short answers? Share your story in the comments. Someone else watching might be encouraged to speak more openly at their next appointment, and that could make all the difference for their health. In the next part, we will talk about another common mistake: staying silent when you don't understand something the doctor says. And I will show you simple, polite ways to ask for clarity without feeling awkward. Imagine this. You are sitting in the doctor's office. The doctor explains your condition, writes a prescription, and tells you how to take the medicine. You nod along. You smile politely. You say, "Theek hai, Dr. Saab." But inside, you are thinking, "I did not really understand what he said. Was it one tablet in the morning or two? Should I take it before food or after?" You don't ask. You feel shy. You tell yourself, "I will figure it out later." This is a mistake that many older women in India make, and it can have serious consequences. A real-life example. In Ahmedabad, Mrs. Farida, 69 years old, was prescribed medicine for high blood pressure. The doctor told her to take one tablet once a day in the morning. But because she didn't fully understand and didn't want to ask again, she thought once a day meant one tablet in the morning and one at night. Within a week, her blood pressure dropped too low and she began to feel dizzy and weak. She even fainted once while making tea in the kitchen. When her daughter took her back to the clinic, the doctor was surprised. He asked, "Didn't I say once in the morning?" Only Mrs. Farida admitted she wasn't sure, but she didn't want to seem forgetful. Why we stay silent? There are many reasons. Older women don't ask questions, even when they are confused. 1. Respect for the doctor. In our culture, the doctor is highly respected. Many women feel it is rude to interrupt or question what the doctor says. 2. Fear of looking foolish. Some worry that asking questions will make them look like they cannot understand, especially if younger family members are present. 3. Language barriers. In many cities, doctors speak in English or Hindi, while patients may be more comfortable in Marathi, Tamil, Bengali, or another regional language. 4. Time pressure. Doctors are busy. You might feel guilty about taking more of their time. The real cost of silence. When you don't understand instructions and don't ask for clarity, several things can happen. You may take the wrong dose of medicine. You might stop a medicine too soon or take it for too long. You could miss important lifestyle advice like avoiding certain foods or monitoring your weight. You might not know which side effects are normal and which are dangerous. These mistakes can lead to worsening illness, unnecessary suffering, and even hospital visits. Changing the habit. Breaking the habit of silent agreement is not easy, but it is possible. You can do it in a way that is still polite and respectful. Here are some simple steps. 1. Repeat back what you heard. After the doctor gives instructions, say, "Doctor, just to be sure, you said 1 tablet in the morning after breakfast. Correct." This shows you are paying attention and gives the doctor a chance to correct you if you misunderstood. 2. Ask for plain language. If the doctor uses medical terms you don't know, ask doctor, "Can you please explain this in simple words?" Use your own language. If you are more comfortable in Tamil, Malayalam, or any other language, let the doctor know. Many clinics in India have staff who can translate. 4. Write it down. Keep a small notebook for doctor visits. Ask the doctor or nurse to write down the medicine name, dose, and timing. 5. Bring a companion. A family member can help listen and remember details. 2 sets of ears are better than 1. Why this matters even more for older women. As we age, we often take more medicines for blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, cholesterol, and more. Managing these medicines correctly is critical. A small misunderstanding can cause serious problems, especially if you are already taking multiple tablets each day. Also, some older women have mild hearing problems or memory issues, which makes it even more important to confirm instructions before leaving the clinic. A success story. In Kochi, Mrs. Leela, 66 years old, started a new diabetes medicine. The first time she saw her doctor, she was shy and didn't ask questions. But after attending a local health awareness camp, she learned how important it was to clarify instructions. On her next visit, she told the doctor, "Doctor, I want to make sure I understand. You said to take this tablet after lunch and I should avoid eating too many sweets, correct?" The doctor smiled and said, "Yes, and also make sure you drink enough water." That small habit of repeating back the instructions made a big difference. Mrs. Leela avoided the side effects that some of her friends had experienced because they took the medicine at the wrong time. You're right as a patient. Asking questions is not disrespectful. It is your right as a patient. The doctor's job is to help you understand your condition and your treatment. If something is not clear, they would rather explain it now than see you come back with complications later. A small script you can use. If you feel nervous about speaking up, try this, "Doctor, I want to make sure I understand so I can follow your advice correctly." Then repeat the instructions as you understood them. This is polite, respectful, and ensures clarity. The bottom line. Silence may feel easier in the moment, but it can cause bigger problems later. Speaking up even just to confirm one small detail can protect your health. A question for you. Have you ever left the doctor's office unsure about your medicine or treatment, but didn't ask for clarification? What happened? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help another woman find the courage to speak up at her next appointment. In the next part, we will discuss another common mistake, giving too little or too much information that is not related to your main problem, and how to keep your answers focused so your doctor can help you best. When the doctor asks you what is wrong, There are two common ways people answer. Some give too little information, just one or two words. Others give too much information, a long story with many details, but most of them are not related to the health problem. Both can confuse the doctor and make it harder for them to help you. A story of too little. In Hyderabad, 73-year-old Mrs. Uma went to her doctor because of back pain. When the doctor asked her what was wrong, she said only 3 words. "My back hurts." That was all. She didn't mention that the pain had started 2 months earlier after lifting a heavy bucket of water. She didn't say that it was worse when she sat for more than half an hour, or that she sometimes felt numbness in her right leg. Without these details, the doctor assumed it was common muscle stiffness due to age and prescribed a mild painkiller. But in reality, Mrs. Uma had a slipped disc pressing on her nerve. It took weeks of worsening pain before the real cause was discovered. A story of too much. In contrast, let's visit Jaipur, where 68-year-old Mrs. Rani went to see her doctor about stomach discomfort. When the doctor asked her what happened, she began. "It started last Sunday after I visited my sister. We had puri and halwa for breakfast. Then I helped her rearrange her cupboards. You know her cupboards always full of old saris. Then we went to the temple, and after that, my cousin called from Delhi. Oh, by the way, she is planning to visit next month." 15 minutes passed before she mentioned the real symptom, that she had a burning sensation in her upper stomach after meals for the last 2 weeks. The doctor was kind, but with so many unrelated details, the main problem almost got lost in the conversation. Why this happens? 1. Too little information often happens because the patient thinks the doctor will ask everything else. They feel shy or think their problem is normal for age. They forget details in the moment. 2. Too much unrelated information often happens because the patient wants to be friendly and share life updates. They feel nervous and start talking about anything. They don't know which details matter most for the doctor, how this affects your care. When you give too little, the doctor may not have enough clues to find the correct diagnosis. They might treat the wrong problem or miss something serious. When you give too much unrelated detail, the main symptom can get buried and the doctor might miss its importance. Finding the balance. The goal is to give the doctor enough relevant information, not too little, not too much. A good answer should cover when the problem started, where it happens in your body, how often it happens, how strong it feels, what makes it better or worse. A simple technique. The 3 sentences. You can train yourself to describe your problem in 3 focused sentences. 1. What is wrong? I have had pain in my lower back for the past 2 months. 2. When and how? It started after lifting a heavy bucket and it gets worse when I sit for more than 30 minutes. 3. Other related changes. Sometimes my right leg feels numb. This gives the doctor a clear picture while still leaving space for them to ask more questions. Writing it down helps. Before your appointment, take 5 minutes to write down your main symptom. When it started. Any patterns you noticed. Any other symptoms that might be connected. Bring this note with you. It will help you stay focused and avoid wandering into unrelated stories. When unrelated details do matter, sometimes a detail you think is unrelated might actually be important. For example, if you have chest discomfort and you also notice sweating or shortness of breath, these could be signs of heart trouble. If you have stomach pain and you also had recent weight loss, this could guide the doctor toward further tests. So the key is not to remove all extra details, but to focus on those that might be connected to your main problem. how to share social or personal updates without confusing the visit. It's natural to want to chat with your doctor, especially if you have known them for years. You can do that, but after you finish explaining your health problem clearly. Think of it like this. First, give the doctor the important news report about your health. Then, when the serious part is done, you can share the personal story over a friendly smile. A positive example, Mrs. Anita from Lucknow learned this balance. When she visited her doctor about knee pain, she said, "I have had pain in both knees for the last 3 months. It is worse in the morning and after walking for more than 1 kilometer. I also noticed swelling at the end of the day." The doctor quickly understood the situation and ordered tests for arthritis. After the main discussion, Anita chatted about her granddaughter's wedding plans. The doctor listened with a smile, knowing the important health information had already been given. Practice makes perfect. Like any skill, learning to give focused answers takes practice. You can rehearse at home, speaking to yourself or with a family member. If you are nervous in front of the doctor, remind yourself you are there to solve a problem. Every minute you spend giving clear, relevant information is an investment in your health. A question for you. When you last visited a doctor, did you give them just enough information, or did you say too little or too much? How did it affect the visit? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else to find the right balance at their next appointment. In the next part, we will talk about another common mistake, avoiding certain embarrassing topics, and how staying silent about them can actually harm your health. There are some things many older women in India do not like to talk about in the doctor's office. Problems with urination, changes in digestion, discomfort in private areas, even changes in sexual health after menopause. These topics feel embarrassing. They feel too personal. And sometimes women think they are simply a normal part of aging and do not need to be discussed, but silence can be dangerous. Many serious health problems start with small, uncomfortable symptoms that we are too shy to mention. Ignoring them can mean they grow worse quietly until they become difficult or even impossible to treat. I have met women who hid their symptoms for years. By the time they spoke up, their condition had already advanced. Let me share a story. In a small town near Nagpur, 65-year-old Mrs. Shobha had been waking up at night to pass urine 3 or 4 times. She also noticed a burning sensation each time she went to the bathroom. She thought it was just part of getting older. She also felt embarrassed to tell her male doctor about it. So every time she visited the clinic for her blood pressure checkup, she kept quiet. Months passed. Eventually, the discomfort became so bad that she could not sleep well at night. When her daughter insisted she see a specialist, the tests showed a severe urinary tract infection that had reached her kidneys. What could have been treated easily in the early stages now needed hospital treatment and strong medicines. The truth is, doctors are trained to handle sensitive issues with respect and privacy. They do not judge you. They do not share your personal information with others. In fact, they are bound by law and professional ethics to keep it confidential. What you say in that room stays in that room. Yet cultural habits are strong. In many Indian families, women are taught from a young age to avoid talking about the private parts of the body. Even among close relatives, such topics are not openly discussed. So when it comes to the clinic, the habit of silence continues. I once met a doctor in Chennai who told me a sad pattern he often saw. Women would come to him with stomach problems. After many questions, he would discover that the real issue was connected to their bladder or reproductive health, but they were too shy to mention it at first. This meant he had to spend more time guessing and running extra tests before he could start treatment. If they had just told him openly at the beginning, the process would have been much faster and less stressful for the patient. Sometimes women avoid talking about bowel problems too. Constipation, for example, is very common after 60. It can be caused by not drinking enough water, a diet low in fiber, or side effects from medicine. Left untreated, it can lead to piles or even more serious bowel conditions. But many women feel it is not polite to talk about such things in front of the doctor, especially if there is a younger family member in the room. So they simply say, "I have some stomach discomfort," and leave out the important details. The doctor might then think it is acidity or indigestion and give the wrong advice. The same happens with topics like vaginal dryness, pain during intimacy, or changes in sexual desire. After menopause, many women experience these changes. They can affect comfort, relationships, and overall well-being. But because these subjects are considered private or even shameful in some communities, women suffer in silence. The truth is, these issues can often be improved with simple treatments, lifestyle changes, or even counseling. But the first step is to speak about them without fear. So how can you talk about sensitive health problems more easily? One way is to prepare the words at home. You can write them down in a notebook and hand the note to the doctor if you feel shy to say them out loud. You can also bring a trusted female family member or friend with you, someone who can help you explain. Another option is to request a female doctor if you are more comfortable that way. In most clinics and hospitals in India, you have the right to ask for this, and they will try to arrange it if possible. You might also find it easier to start with a simple sentence like, "Doctor, there is something I feel shy to talk about, but it is affecting my health." This signals to the doctor that the matter is sensitive, and they will usually respond with patience and understanding. Remember, doctors hear these issues every day. For them, it is normal medical work. For you, it might feel personal and new, but for them, it is part of helping people heal. There is also an emotional benefit to speaking openly. When you share what is truly happening in your body, you feel lighter. You no longer carry the burden alone. You give yourself the chance to get real help. And very often, you discover that your problem is more common than you thought. Many other women your age may have faced the same thing, and solutions do exist. One lady I know from Bengaluru told me that for years she had pain in her lower abdomen but avoided telling her doctor. She thought it was just age. When she finally spoke up, the doctor diagnosed her with early-stage prolapse and treated it with exercises and simple support devices. She said later, "If I had spoken earlier, I could have saved myself years of discomfort." Her story is not unique. Every month, countless women could avoid long-term suffering by having one brave conversation. So next time you visit your doctor, ask yourself, am I telling the full truth about my health? Am I leaving something out because I feel embarrassed? If the answer is yes, remind yourself that your health is worth more than your hesitation. The doctor's role is to help you, but they can only help with the information you give them. I would love to know in the comments if you have ever felt shy to mention a health issue to your doctor. What helped you finally speak up your story could encourage another woman watching this video to find her voice and protect her health. In our next part, we will bring all these lessons together and see how speaking clearly without fear can turn your doctor's visit into one of the most powerful tools for staying healthy in your later years. If you have stayed with me until now, you have probably realized something important. The way you speak to your doctor is not just a small part of your visit. It is the heart of your care. Every story I have shared with you shows how words can guide the doctor toward the right treatment or lead them away from the truth of your condition. We began with the image of Mrs. Meena in Pune, speaking softly and leaving out key details. That quiet moment was not unusual. It happens every single day in clinics and hospitals across India, and every time it happens, there is a chance that something important is missed, a diagnosis delayed, a treatment given too late, a life made more difficult than it needs to be. We talked about why details matter and how the doctor cannot guess what you feel without you telling them. We saw the difference between saying, "I feel weak," and saying, "I feel weak in the evenings after walking for 15 minutes, and it is sometimes followed by chest tightness. The second way brings the doctor into your experience. It paints a clear picture in their mind so they can take the right next step. We looked at the mistake of staying silent when you do not understand. This is one of the most dangerous habits because a small misunderstanding about medicine or instructions can turn into a big health problem. You learned that it is not rude to ask for clarity, and that repeating back what you heard can save you from taking the wrong dose or missing a critical step in your treatment. We also explored how giving too little or too much unrelated information can confuse the doctor and slow down your care. You saw how a simple structure, like 3 sentences, can help you give just the right amount of detail, so the doctor has a clear path to follow. And of course, we face the most difficult part of all, talking about sensitive health issues. We admitted that in our culture, these topics are often avoided, but we also learned that silence is the enemy of healing. Whether it is a urinary problem, changes in digestion, or discomfort in private areas, these are signals from your body and they deserve to be heard. We understood that doctors are there to treat, not to judge, and that speaking about these things can prevent serious illness and even save lives. All these lessons point to one truth. Your health depends not only on the doctor's skill, but also on your voice. Without your voice, the doctor works in the dark. With your voice, they have a light to guide them. So what can you do from today? First, start preparing before each appointment. Think about what you want to say. Write it down if needed. Practice saying it aloud so you feel more confident when you are in the clinic. Second, do not leave the room with doubts. If something is not clear, speak up immediately. Third, give details, but keep them connected to your main problem. And remember, it is perfectly fine to take a moment to think before answering. And finally, trust that your health is worth any moment of discomfort you might feel when speaking about a sensitive topic. Let me tell you about one last story. In Coimbatore, a 70-year-old woman named Lalitha had been visiting the same doctor for years. She was friendly, polite, and always quick to smile. But her visits were short, and she rarely gave much detail. One day, after watching a health awareness video, she decided to try something different. She wrote down all her symptoms before her next appointment and told her doctor everything, including some issues she had never mentioned before. The doctor listened carefully and ordered a set of tests. Within a week, Lalitha was diagnosed with an early-stage heart condition that could be managed well with medicine and lifestyle changes. She told me later, "I realized that my words were as important as the doctor's stethoscope." That change in her approach gave her more years of active, healthy life. Your next appointment could be the turning point for you too. Imagine walking into the clinic with your head held high. You greet your doctor and you speak clearly about what you have been feeling. You ask questions when you need to, and you leave, knowing exactly what to do next. That is not just a good appointment, that is taking control of your health. That is giving yourself the best chance to live well in the years ahead. I want you to remember this simple sentence. Your health, your voice. They belong together. No one else can speak for your body the way you can. No one else knows the small changes in how you feel each day. That knowledge is precious, and when you share it, you give your doctor the power to help you. Before we end, I would love to hear from you. Have you ever had an experience where speaking up at the doctor's office changed the outcome for you? Or maybe a time when you stayed quiet and later wished you had said more? Share it in the comments. Your words might be the encouragement another viewer needs to take that brave step at their next visit. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe to stay connected. We talk here about real issues that matter to people in their later years in India. Health is not just about medicines. It is about awareness, courage, and making small changes that can have a big impact. So make yourself a cup of chai. Sit back and watch our other videos because each one can give you another piece of the puzzle for a healthier, happier life.